Hey everyone, welcome back. It is, well, for me it is really good to be back. I've been off for probably about 11 days here. I did 2 videos while I was on vacation. Vacation was great. I had a great time with the kids and family in Mexico. Got probably too much sun, got burnt a little bit on the first couple of days, and took it easy later on. But man, a lot's been going on in Bitcoin here. A lot's been going on with Trump. Elon, looks like they patched things up a little bit, so that's kind of looking good here. CPI data came out today, I believe it was. I didn't get to see what it was. I'm just trying to catch up on everything else. But today we do have to talk about Bitcoin possibly getting to 150,000. I think that's possibly the next step here. You guys are right now voting on it, saying that 57% of you guys, or 62%, 57% are saying no, Bitcoin's not getting to 150,000 next step. I think that might be the case here, but we'll talk about it. We also have Iren reporting that they're getting convertible notes coming up here in I think like the next couple of days they're doing that, 500 million there. We have update from Bitdeer as well on May production. We don't have a core update, but we do have them providing us the daily updates. So I'm using that for the end of May to come up with what they actually might have mined and how much they mined and everything else. So we're using that. And what else do we have here? Riot has sold some shares in Bitfarms, so we have a report on that as well. Bitmain is coming out with a new miner in early 2026 that is going to be 1,000 something terahash, which is basically 1 petahash, which is unbelievable at about 9 joules per terahash. So the race is on for the most efficient miner, whether it's going to be Bitmain or Bitdeer. We'll talk about it as well. And we have a bunch of good news stories on Bitcoin as well. Not a bunch. I think I only have 5 or 6 news stories on it, but those lead me to believe that Bitcoin is going to be going to 150,000 here in the next couple of months, but we'll see. All right, so let's get into it all here. But as always, you guys know the drill. We got to go through this. Not financial advice, for only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at it. What we got going on here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's had a nice run here in the last couple of days while I was on vacation. So we had a nice run up over the weekend, and even we had a nice run on Monday. Right, Monday we had Bitcoin being up 4.27%. Miners followed suit as well. Not as great as I thought they were going to do, but Bitcoin did bounce back. Yesterday we dropped down and then bounced back up. Today we actually dropped down and stayed there. So we're at 108,526 right now as it is. Overall, Bitcoin has done a nice job bouncing back up here. We do have some stories about Bitcoin being basically low on exchanges or getting lower on exchanges. So that's a good sign here, potentially going forward for Bitcoin. We also have Sailor buying more. We'll talk about that in a second here when we get into everything else here. But the miners here, let's see how they did here the last couple of days here. Bitfarms has been kind of flat. It's been underneath the 50-day simple moving average here for a while now, over probably 10 trading days or so. Which is not a good sign. We do have that sell pressure from Riot happening here. Riot just reported, we'll take a look at that in a second here. But they reported that they sold shares. They're down to a certain percentage now of Bitfarms there. So Bitfarms was down 6.67% today as it is. Also, there's some people are saying that Bitfarms is sending out voting proxies for shareholders that have shares in Bitfarms. But they're going to be doing a possibly up to a 10-for-1 split, a reverse split on the stock. I have not seen anything from my trading platform, at least, but I do own a lot of shares there. But I haven't seen anything for a request to vote on an upcoming shareholders vote. If you guys are getting that, let me know in the comments down below on that. And so we'll see on that one if it's going to happen. I don't know. If it does happen, that might change my mind. I might actually just sell out of Bitfarms at that point, but maybe keep a little bit just in case I get an HPCI deal. We'll see. All right, next here is Bitdeer. Bitdeer was down 3.29%, and it was up here the last couple of days. It's been doing a nice run up here, more or less. It's still above the 100 and 200 simple day moving averages, so that's looking pretty good here. Cypher was up today. Was only one of 2 miners that was up today. It was up 0.49%. It's at $4.08, so that one's still looking pretty good. Cleanspark was down 1.58%, but it's had a nice run up here right after the kind of drop that it had over the last, probably about a week ago or something like that, where it came back down to the 50-day simple moving average and bounced off of that. It's now battling again with the 200 simple day moving average. Love to see that get above it. CORZ was down 4.07%. Not sure why. On that one, it's still above the 200 simple day moving average, so that's looking good. Hive was down 0.99% here today. It's battling with the 100 simple day moving average. I mean, you can see that line here, and it's just battling with it. Hopefully, it can get above it here shortly, but it's had a nice little run up here recently in the last couple of days. HUT 8 was down just a little bit, 0.05%. And it's kind of been closing there for the last 3 days, it looks like, right around that range. It's just stuck there for some reason. But it's above the 200 simple day moving average, 100 day, and 50 day moving averages as well. It's had a nice run up here recently. Iren was down 1.8%, but it's also had a really nice run here. It's above the 200 and 100 daily as well. Simple moving averages. And it's had a really, really good run here in the last, I would say, it was at 10 days or so, 8 to 10 days possibly. Why did that do that? Let me see. It went up it was up 30%. It's come back down to being up only about 21%. So it's had a nice run up in the last 9 days, 7 trading days, more or less. Mara was down a little bit, 0.85%, but it's also had a nice little run back up here. It's getting close to the 200 simple day moving average as well. Then we got Riot, was up a little bit. Riot continues to do pretty good here recently. It was up 0.96% here. Not sure what's going on there. Is it because they're selling Bitfarms shares that people are getting into them, but they don't have that baggage on them? Possibly. Right, they're up 32% here in the last 8 trading days. More or less, they did reach a high of 36%. So that one's doing really, really good here recently. It's doing better than some of the other miners here as well. And then Wolf was down just a little bit, 2.43%, but it's also been doing pretty good here over the long run. Miners are actually doing not too bad. We'll look at some of the numbers for them as far as comparison to Bitcoin from different time frames to see where they are right now. But right now, it's not looking too bad here. MicroStrategy came out that they bought some more Bitcoin. We'll talk about that here later on here. But they've been kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? They've kind of stalled out a little bit here recently. I'm not sure why. Whether it's Bitcoin stalling out a little bit as well. But they've stalled out here. They're currently at, $387. They got up to 430. They came back down here. But they've been buying more Bitcoin here. So I'm surprised that they're kind of stalling out here a little bit on that one. Some of the other ones were, let's see here. Semler was up 0.7%. Where's the other one? The blockchain group continues to rocket here. I mean, if any of you guys got into that one when it was like at 34 cents here, this was back in April the 7th, you are doing very, very well. So congrats to anybody that's got into it. I mean, you're up 1,414%, I'm sure. I don't know if anybody held on that long to it, but man, if you did, congrats. That is an awesome job there. Did not see that happening there. What else we got here? Small miners, DigiPower was up 13% today. Let's see if there's anything that, I mean, this thing has been doing pretty good also. What happened there? Is there any news here recently? DigiPower, this was June 2nd, so this was basically a week ago. Says has strong cash and crypto positions with no long-term debt. Reports May production results. Okay. But yeah, this one has been doing actually really, really good here recently. It's not, well, it's still quite a ways away from its 52-week high here. On that one, the ETF for the miners were down today as well. Everything was down today. CoreWeave was down as well. Gryphon was down 5%. That thing has definitely come back down from where it got to almost $3 here just about, 3 weeks ago. And it's come back down to reality a little bit. So that's looking pretty good here. But that's the market right now as it is. So let's get into some of the good stories that we do have here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is actually still doing really good in the second quarter that we're in right now, which ends in June here. So if we look at that number here, Bitcoin is up 31% in Q2, which is actually really good, all things considered. Right? Historically, looking at it, there were a couple years where we had 100% gains, right? But those were kind of like outliers. Maybe 2017, we had 123%. 2019, we had 159%. Other than that, we've had 42%, negative 40%, negative 56%, positive 7, negative 11. So having a 31% gain on Q2 is actually pretty good here. And in June, we're still up 3.62% on the month so far. So we'll take it. But I think Bitcoin's going to be going up higher here. The ETFs for Bitcoin, surprising here that BlackRock actually sold out quite a bit here at the end of the May and end of the month. They sold 430 million here. I was surprised by that, looking at it. And then they had a little bit of a more sale going on here on Monday, June 2nd. And then they've been buying here recently, except for June 6th. They had a little sale there. and then they've been buying here recently as well. So I had a couple sales here. Some price corrections probably on that, so it's still not looking too bad. But overall, we still have a lot of buying happening in the Bitcoin ETFs here. All right, so here's a post from Dennis Porter. 150,000 Bitcoin is inbound, and I tend to agree with him, right? If we follow the M2 supply here, which you see here on this chart, we have been following it pretty closely with Bitcoin. You got the Bitcoin right here, and you get the M2 supply in the yellow, and Bitcoin has been following that very, very closely here. If we do follow this, it's going to take us maybe a while here to get to 150,000, but I think 150,000 is coming in one way or another. It's not going to be a straight line to it. It's going to be a bumpy ride. We're going to be up to maybe 125, 126,000, whatever it is, drop back down to 19,000, go back up to possibly 138, whatever it is, 139, drop back down below that to 129,000, and continue going back up here. But eventually, I think we are going to be going up here. And actually, tide has changed now on the poll here. It looks like 68% of you guys are saying that Bitcoin will get to 150,000 here in the next couple of months, which I agree with you guys. I think that's going to be the play here on that one. All right, so that's bullish news for Bitcoin. I think that's going to be playing out here for us going forward. We also have GameStop. GameStop is going to raise another $1.75 billion to make investments in manner consistent with GameStop's investment policy. Right, buying Bitcoin is official GameStop investment policy there. So they're going to be buying a bit more Bitcoin as well, which leads us to the other stories that we have here about exchanges. So this is good news there. This was also on CNBC here, right? Bitcoin's primed for a surge to a fresh all-time high above 130,000, CNBC. Right, over here, this is it. Balance on exchanges hits all-time low. This is from Vivek. Tighten your seatbelts. I mean, you can just see that going down here, right? As Michael Saylor's strategy buys more Bitcoin, as other companies buy Bitcoin and put it on the reserve balance sheet, you're seeing this dwindling of Bitcoin on exchanges, which is a good thing because that takes a lot of the liquidity out, and which in that event obviously also spikes the price up higher because it's supply and demand. Less supply, more demand, Bitcoin price goes up. So I love seeing that, and it's just a continuation of what we have been seeing here recently. I mean, since basically, it really accelerated here in like December and November of last year. We saw a little bit of flat line here, more or less, between September and November, but then it really started decreasing quite a bit here. So we've had approximately, looking at this, about 400,000 Bitcoin come off the exchanges here recently in the last, I would say, what is this, 9 months more or less on this chart. Let me see if I can zoom this in for you guys so you guys can see it here. From September, basically, maybe even August, going to June as it is right now. And you can see that supply going down and Bitcoin price is going up as a result of that. So that's great news. And then obviously we talked about strategy. Strategy accumulated some more. They bought another 1,045 Bitcoin for a total of 110 million. They paid about 105,000 per Bitcoin per average there, and has achieved a Bitcoin yield of 17.1% year to date. And then they currently hodl 582,000 Bitcoin. So I mean that's basically what Saylor bought here in the last 9 months, more or less. Well, not all of it, but you can see there's a supply coming off the exchanges there. That's basically equivalent to that, and then some. All right. So this is all good news, all great adoption, all great things happening for Bitcoin. I'm still extremely bullish on Bitcoin, and I think it's going to reward the miners as well in the long run. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but I think it's going to happen next year. This is kind of interesting, but this might be actually, depending how you look at it, might be bad for the miners, might be good for the miners, right? Efficiencies in Bitcoin mining gear, ASICs, the mining equipment there is getting more and more efficient, which I think is good. But it also leads to having to lay out cash, right? You need to buy new machines every couple of years in order to be competitive and be able to mine at a nice profit there. At least historically, we'll see if this is still going to be the case here going forward with network hash rate going up, maybe a little bit slower pace than in the past, but we'll see. But here's what we got. So Bitmain's 1.16 petahash Bitcoin mining beast. The ASIC arms race just got real. We saw Bitdeer report they're going down to, I think, as low as 5 joules per terahash eventually with their either their A3 or their A4 ASIC machine there. That's coming up as well. I think the timeline for that is also 2026, 2027, somewhere around there. on that one. So the race is on, right? These guys, the more competition we have here is better. And we've seen that actually play out this past cycle, I guess you could say, this current cycle that we're in. We're not seeing the price per terahash go crazy like we haven't seen in the past. Last cycles, we've seen the price stay relatively, I wouldn't say too low. I'd say kind of nice and average, more or less, around $18 per terahash to $20 per terahash, depending on who you're getting. Some people are getting better deals around $14, $15 per terahash, but it's not going to like the $90 per terahash, $100 per terahash that we saw last cycle. That doesn't mean it's going to happen here. Bitcoin goes to 200,000, 250,000, whatever it goes. We might see those prices happen, but at least we're not seeing them right now, which obviously helps the miners that have been purchasing a great deal of these machines. And then if prices stay the same per terahash more or less going forward, it does mean the miners will be not overpaying basically for mining equipment here. But here's what we got. So over the past 3 years, Bitcoin mining gear has evolved dramatically from machines cranking out massive terahash to widely available rigs boasting efficiencies under 20 joules per terahash. At the World Digital Mining Summit last month, Bitmain pulled back the curtain on a machine delivering over a petahash per second with an energy use of just 9.5 joules per terahash. We have definitely come a long way. When I got into the mining business back in 2017, 2018, and going into a couple of years after that, we were operating the S9 Bitmain Bitcoin miner. It was 13.5 terahash. So, I mean, we have machines right now that are basically 20 times faster than that and probably a lot more efficient than the ones we had back then. So things are definitely changing. I mean, this now at 13.5 compared to what we're getting to at 1.116, I mean, that's, what is that? 100 times better, right? Something like that, close to that, 100 times better in efficiencies than we had basically just, well, it's almost, wow, 8 years ago. That's been a long time. But so we're seeing all these improvements, which are great because you can definitely hash more and pay less for the electricity there. So in September 2024, Bitmain joined forces with Hut 8 to debut a direct liquid-to-chip ASIC miner that churns out 860 terahash at 13 joules per terahash. Hot on their heels, rivals like Bitdeer, MicroBT, and Aurodyne showcased units ranging from 424 terahash to 600 terahash, but Bitmain wasn't done. Its S23 line, poised for release in 2026, raises the ceiling yet again. Right, so the N-Miner S23 Hydro, which touts 580 terahash with an efficiency of 9.5 joules per terahash. Yet Bitmain's boldest leap is the N-Miner S23 Hydro at 3U, set to hit shelves in January 2026, delivering over 1,000 terahash, or just north of 1 petahash of hash power. I don't know if this is the actual unit. I think it might be just a mock-up there, more or less. But going, the other thing that's kind of interesting here is that transition into rack-mounted ASICs, right? So basically you can put those into data centers that have liquid cooling and things like that, direct to chip. And so that way you can utilize both. You can do Bitcoin mining and you can do HPCI data center stuff as well on top of it. And that might be the way that the industry goes going forward, which would be interesting. If the industry does move forward that way, because we're seeing obviously a lot of miners going into HPCI as well. And if they can do both the Bitcoin mining and HPCI in the same data center, that would be a win-win, I think, at that point. You're getting the best of both worlds at that point. So it'd be interesting to see if this is going to be the trend going forward here. But I think it might be, actually. I mean, we're seeing definitely a lot more of these coming out here where they are rack-mounted, and it's basically standardized, right? The size of the unit is standardized. It goes into, whether it's a 3U form factor, 4U form factor, a 1U, 2U, whatever it might be. It's standardized. You can slot those things into the rack, making it pretty quick and easy. Instead of having to build out, well, I mean, you still have to build out the data centers and things like that, but right now it's basically custom data centers that they're building for Bitcoin miners because of the different shapes and sizes of the units, more or less. So you're building it based on what you're buying or who you're buying it from. So we'll see. So I think this is definitely going to generate more hash rate going forward, right? Going into 2026, 2027, especially as these things become more and more efficient. The miners will have to buy some more of these things as they grow. I think the miners that are getting to scale will have a better time of being able to fund their growth as long as Bitcoin is still going up in value and we don't have that 80% correction that we have had historically with Bitcoin. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see on that. Time will tell on it all. But it's exciting. For me, this is exciting stuff that's happening here right now in Bitcoin in general. All right, let's get into some of the announcements that we do have here for Bitdeer, along with Iren and Bitfarms as well. And we'll call it a day here. We'll get into Q&A as well at the end of this. So Bitdeer announces their May production updates. They increased the self-mining hash rate to 13.6 on continued deployment of Seal miners. They sold and shipped 1.6 exahash of Seal miners as well. They twos to external customers, so that's good. We don't know what they're really selling those for. I don't think they have that listed on the website as far as what the cost is on those. I think it's based on customers and how much the customers are getting, and that will determine the price you're getting at that point. Okay, self-mining like we talked about, or no, we didn't talk about. 196 Bitcoin mined, so that's an increase of 18.1% from April. Let's see here. Seal miner A2, they have manufactured 9 exahash and an additional 1.5 exahash of finally assembly as of the end of May of 2025. Of the 9 exahash mining rigs that have been manufactured, 2.9 exahash mining rigs have been shipped to external customers, including 1.6 exahash that were shipped in May. So that's actually not too bad. I mean, you're looking at maybe what is it going to be? 30,000 machines, 20 some odd thousand machines, roughly, depending on the hash rate on those things. Self-mining, they have deployed 1.6 exahash in Texas, Tidal, Norway, including 1.1 exahash in May. 2.6 exahash are in transit to Bitdeer sites in Texas, US, and Bhutan, and 1.9 are being prepared for shipment. So they're going to have definitely quite a bit of hash rate growth here happening in the next couple months. Right, HPCI here, discussions are ongoing with multiple development partners and potential end users for selected large-scale sites in the U.S. for HPCI. We're talking about like the Ohio location that they have there. Launched AI cloud service by deploying more than 10 cutting-edge LLMs, including Llama, DeepSeek, Qwen variants with robust infrastructure supporting strong inference demand, demonstrating our ability to deliver enterprise-grade AI solutions at scale. Okay, so that's nice there. What else do we have here? Management commentary here. Looking forward, we remain on track to deliver over 40 exahash of self-mining capacity by October 2025. So that's actually pretty good here. That's a lot of hash rate here going to be happening in, you got June, July, August, September, October, basically in 5 months. So that's a lot of growth for them happening here. On that one, all right, into the data here. Self-mining was 13.6, Bitcoin mined 196, Bitcoin held 1,351 as it is. So let's take a look at Bitdeer here on their numbers we have currently. So currently Bitdeer has about 196 million shares outstanding. The performance over the last 12 weeks has been actually really, really good here. They're up almost 40% from 12 weeks ago, up 83% from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks ago, they're down 8%. From 1 week, they're up 8%. So they kind of basically evened out there a little bit. On that one, current hash rate 13.6, future hash rate about 41 that I have them at right now as it is. Bitcoin HODL is 1,351. That's valued at 146 million right now as it is. HODL to market cap, that's 5.39% of their market cap, and each share has about 75 cents in it right now. Bitcoin production here has finally started to go back up here ever since February, where they bottomed out at 110 Bitcoin in that month, and it has been increasing and increasing quite nicely here over the last 2 months. So that's nice to see there. Revenues as a result, you can see that going up as well. Bitcoin going up in price definitely helps here as well. And then Bitcoin HODL has been growing as well. So a lot of good things are happening here with Bitdeer. Hash rate has also been increasing, which is great. Hash rate difference, so they installed about 1.2 exahash here this current month in May. In April, they installed about 900 petahash. In March, they installed 2.5. So like seeing the growth here. And we've talked about this many, many times here, where Bitdeer has had is going to be having a lot more growth here happening in the second half of the year and into possibly 2026 as well. On that one, Bitcoin sold here, looks like they sold about 91 Bitcoin in May based on the numbers that I have for them. BTC per exahash efficiency has improved to 14.4, which is nice to see there. And we'll get into those things in a minute here. Institutions and analyst ratings. Institutions did decrease here to 157 institutions, but shares actually increased to 37.16 million. And percentage owned by institutions did increase as well to 25. I mean, we've seen pretty much month over month increase. We did see a little decrease here in May for them, percentage-wise, but it's come back up here as we can see it here. We still have the 8 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperforms, 0 sells for them. Price target stayed the same for $26 for the high. Average went up to $20.15, and the low actually went up to $16 for them, as it is right now. Based on May numbers for them, they were operating for about 28.5 days on average. The new machines being plugged in operated on average for 20 days. That's what I usually give the miners here. That got us to the numbers that we have here, with them generating approximately 20.3 million in revenue based on that. And if we look at these numbers here along with what they reported for other revenue from the other business segments that they have, we don't know what they are generating for selling the ASICs. We can kind of see what they're generating for the hosting side of the business and things like that. So I'm including that in here along with the main numbers for them times 12 months. And based on that, I'm in between $13.04 and $19.56 currently, based on what they have. But right as they install more and more hash rate, things will definitely improve for them. And as long as Bitcoin stays where it's at, or at least goes up higher, that will bode well for them. Right now at 1383, so it looks like they're kind of fairly valued. I would say on the lower end. I think they can go up to like 1956 here right now and still be fairly valued. So yeah, I think they're still really, really good here, right? The stock has done really, really well here in the last 12 weeks, up 83% from 8 weeks ago, 40% from 12 weeks ago. So the stock has definitely outperformed some of these other miners here recently, and this could be as a result of them installing a lot more hash rate here going forward as well on that. So that definitely helps. It doesn't hurt. It absolutely helps you. We do. What was I going to say? Now we do. I like what I'm seeing here right now from them, right? They're definitely operating much better here as far as installing hash rate, getting that stuff up and running. And they are meeting their targets, so that's kind of good to see. Anything else that I could really comment on them? Would love to see more details on obviously what they're charging for the ASIC miners there, more or less on average. It doesn't have to be an exact price on average. I'd love to see that. What else would I love to see? I would love to know more details on the ASICs that they are installing, the A2s right now as it is. Might be able to find that on the website right now. I think I'm putting them down as, what am I putting down as? 230 terahash right now, but they might be higher terahash. I don't know. I'll look into it some more here on that. Yeah, I mean, other than that, they just got to execute. Continue to execute like everybody else here, and we'll see where they go. Okay, so that's the Bitdeer right now. It's looking good right now as it is. All right, let's get into the next one that we have here, which is going to be on Iren here. Iren came out with upsized 500 million convertible notes offering. So they did one earlier or late last year as well for, what was it, 400 some odd million, I believe it was. And they seem to have plowed through that relatively quickly because they have been using the ATM here recently, but now they're getting another convertible note. So here's what we got. So today they announced the pricing of its offering of 500 million aggregate principal amount of 3.5% convertible senior notes due 2029, which is fine. The key details of the transaction: offering size was increased from the previously announced offering size of 450 million aggregate principal amount of notes. Capped call transactions entered into a connection with the notes, which are expected generally to provide a hedge upon conversions up to initial cap price of $20.98 per share, which represents 100% premium as compared to the 30% conversion premium under the notes. And the issuance and sale of notes are scheduled to settle on June 13th. Okay, so anytime you have these kind of capped notes or capped calls, whatever you want to call them, that usually puts in a little bit of a, I guess you could say, a ceiling on where the price could go. Things can change, right? They could buy the stuff back out, the shares if they wanted to, buy them back early. They could also get an HPCI deal that's really, really good. I think that would just blow through that basically 2098 ceiling there if that is the case, if that happens. So there's definitely ways we can go above it. There's going to be also some short interest on them probably going to be put because of this as well, because who's ever putting up to $500 million is going to be, going one way and then hedging their bets the other way as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but at least they're not pulling on the ATM. The ATM obviously puts sell pressure on the stock here, and I think this will definitely help them out going forward, but they can also use the money to build out what they need to build out. All right, so Iren intends to use the 48.9 million of the net proceeds to fund the cost of entering into the capped call transaction described below, approximately 92.5 million to fund the cost of entering into the prepared forward transaction described below, and the remainder of the net proceeds from the offering for general corporate purposes and working capital. If the initial purchasers exercise their option to purchase additional notes, Iren intends to use a portion of the additional net proceeds to fund the cost of entering into additional capped call transactions. They're basically hedging their bets there on it as well. And yeah, I mean, we've seen similar deals we've done before. We've seen it with Cleanspark, we've seen it with Mawson, we've seen it with Riot as well. We've seen it with Iren doing it as well. So we've seen this before. It's nothing new here. I like these actually a little bit more than the ATMs right now because prices of the miners are kind of depressed from where they really should be. All right, so we really don't want to be using the ATM at this point. I think this is a better way to do it, and it helps them fund what they need to fund as far as, data centers and building out HPCI, whatever they want to do. This is a good way to do it, I think. I like this better than the ATM, actually. But eventually we're going to get diluted one way or another, right? Unless they start making, $500 million a month or something like that, at which point they can pay this off in a month or a couple months, whatever it might be. But until then, as long as Bitcoin doesn't fall too far down like it has in previous cycles, they should be able to pay this stuff off, or they're going to issue more shares in 2020 and 2029. But at that point, I'm not going to be worried about it at that time. So that's it on Iren here. We'll see if they get any kind of good news from this, attracting any kind of AI players. All right, we'll see. All right, that's it on Iren. Let's get into Bitfarms here really quick on Riot. This was posted on Bitfarms SEC filing page here, Schedule 13D here. This is just saying that Riot Platforms has lowered their amount of shares owned to 14.6%. So they have been selling shares, and that's why we've been obviously seeing Bitfarms shares price kind of be down in the dumps here in the last couple of weeks. It's been down in the dumps for the last couple of months, actually, almost a year plus. But it's been either one thing or another, so it's been holding them back here. And then also, like I said earlier, Bitfarms is, what I've heard at least from some people, is that they're getting these proxy votes on doing reverse split, possibly. I haven't seen anything personally, so I don't know if it's true or not. If you guys have been getting those, let me know. But yeah, maybe I'll get those eventually here. We'll see. I don't know. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Let's get into Q&A here as always. See what's going on there. Let's see if this works for me. Go in here. All right, that's all working perfect. So as always, if you guys could preface the question with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And I'm going to scroll my way up. There's a lot of comments here, so it's going to take me a while. I'm going to go through the questions as best as I can. If there's any questions, I see you guys are commenting, obviously, on me being back, which is great to be back. I've missed you guys as well. Let's see if we get any questions here. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. All right. John says that Crypto Rover YouTuber says the high of BTC will be 130, 140,000 cycle. Where will Bitfarms be at 127,000? I need to let it go before the crypto winter. Okay. I don't think we're going, that's going to be the high, 130, 140,000. I don't think that's going to be the high. I honestly do not think that's going to be the high. I think we're going higher, much higher than that, actually. But just in case, if we go to 127,000, right, it depends on how much sell pressure we get from Riot on Bitfarms shares. Right now, it's anybody's guess as far as where Bitfarms could be at 127,000 Bitcoin. As the price goes up, there might be sell pressure from Riot selling the shares, which we know they're going to be doing. So it could keep the price down lower than where we think it should be, really valued, unfortunately. So it's kind of hard to say. I would say somewhere between, $1 and $2, somewhere between there. I don't know exactly where it's going to be. It just depends on how much sell pressure we get on it, unfortunately. Metaplan says 130 to 140,000 sounds about right for this underwhelming cycle. Well, is it underwhelming, or is it still the same cycle? Well, I wouldn't say it's the same cycle. It's a different cycle altogether. I'm not going to call it the same cycle because it's completely different. But here's the thing. It's underwhelming with the miners more so than it is with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin started out the cycle basically at 73,000 before the halving event. We are now at, we got to 112,000. So what we're seeing here is the value of the Bitcoin go up higher. Percentage-wise, it's lower than we've seen prior cycles, right? And we've seen that kind of with every cycle, we've seen that kind of come down, that percentage gains. But the value amount of the dollars has been higher. So I think that's going to continue here going forward for at least the next 5, 10, 20, whatever years it's going to be. We're going to see that happening here where Bitcoin price is going to go up higher, but the percentage-wise is going to go lower. We're seeing also a different completely cycle where Bitcoin does now go 3-5 months into a sideways pattern or a correction pattern where it goes down 30%. We saw it last year. We saw it this year as well from the beginning of this year. We didn't have that last cycle. Last cycle, Bitcoin would rip, right? 30, 40%, 50%, whatever it might be, correct 30% in a couple of days, and then continue to rip higher after that. So it is way, way, way completely different. Meaning that I'm thinking that we might have an extended cycle. Like I've talked about this before many, many times, which could lead us to having these kind of longer duration pullbacks, corrections, whatever you want to call them, where they are 3 to 5 months, where the miners get spanked at that point, but Bitcoin will correct over that time and then bounce to go up even higher at that point. I think that's going to be the way going forward, but we'll see. We're still early in the cycle. Typically in the cycles that we were in the past, Bitcoin would peak somewhere around October, November, December of this year. All right, so we'll see where we end up at by that time. All right. Guy says, we missed you, man. I missed you guys all as well. You guys are always fun to talk to and chat with. Let's see, Guy, Cleanspark price target before we start trimming it. Oh, gosh. I think it's going up higher. I think it's still undervalued from where it really should be. Price target for them, depending on where we're looking at Bitcoin, right? If we're looking at Bitcoin, 180,000, 200,000, 250,000, things definitely improve on Cleanspark's price there. I think we're going to be going over $20 eventually for it, maybe even closer to $30, possibly even higher, depending on how much we get, FOMO from retail going back into these guys here. Let's see, Metaplanet says, yeah, long periods of, let me see, are you guys seeing this? Yeah, long periods of BTC sideways action really killed the miners over the past year. Yeah. But, yeah, so it seems like the thesis that I had was to hold the miners for a longer period of time, right? Try to get them at the bottom and hold them through the top here. Has not worked out as well. I'm still in the green, so I can't complain. I'm still 80% on Cleanspark. I'm like 40% now on Iren. So I'm in the green on those guys, but I think playing the trade would have been better. If you were able to time it better towards the tops of these things and buy them at the bottoms a little bit more. A couple of times over, you probably could have done a heck of a lot better than I did, right? What else we got here? A.dev asks, question, is Iren a good buy here after the news? Yeah, I think it's caps the price up a little bit here. But the one thing that's always going to be a determining factor is news around HPCI. If they get a deal or something like that, things are going to take off like crazy, right? We saw that with Applied Digital. They got a deal with CoreWeave. Stock took off like crazy. So any type of deal that they get with whoever it might be, whether if it's a nice deal and long deal too, will definitely resonate with the street and investors in general. So that should rise the stock up much more. I own a bunch of shares. I feel like I don't own enough, but I'm happy with where I'm at least. Ron's got a question here. What's Bitfarms' price target? How will the Riot exit impact them short, long term? I mean, depending how long it takes them to sell off the shares. If they do it relatively quickly, it could be just short pain on it, and then it might actually bounce after that. But we don't know. We don't know when they're going to be selling or what's going on there. So I'm saying short term, I'm looking at somewhere between $1 and $2 for it, right? Bitcoin goes up higher as well. We get to 150,000, 200,000, whatever it might be for Bitcoin. And then Riot is done selling it at that point. We might see it bounce a little bit more from there. Okay. B says got a question here. Do you think Cypher's contract will be similar to Applied or much better? Ah, jeez, I don't know. We thought the deal that Core got with Core Scientific was one of the best ones. It looks like the deal that Galaxy got with CoreWeave might be a little bit better deal there on it. So I don't know. It's going to be tough to say. It depends on the negotiations with Cypher and their team, how well they can negotiate it. But at least they have something to go by, right? They got Core, they have Applied Digital, they also have the deal with Galaxy there. So they at least have something to go by that they can kind of gauge where the market is at and this stuff and go from there, I think. But yeah, we'll see what kind of deal they get. All right. Gary says, Iren's first AI HPC data center, Horizon 1, to be built in Q4, 50 megawatts. So logical, the contract will be 50 megawatts. Why sign a contract for more megawatts than you are building in 2025? Okay, yeah, I mean, if they get, well, is it going to be for something that they're going to lease out to somebody, or is it going to be that they build it out for themselves and put in, like they have been here recently, buying H100 and H200s GPUs from NVIDIA and generating, what are they generating now? 2.8 million a month or something like that on it, in revenue on it, and getting a 90% profit margin. So, but then again, we're also, what else did I see? I saw a news story that Amazon is actually lowering pricing on H100, H200s, and B100s, I think it was, on their platform. So, like I've talked about in the past as well, we're seeing these things become democratized, meaning as time progresses, the price is going to come down as more of these things are getting into the market, right? Supply and demand. As there's more supply of this stuff, prices are going to come down here. So, what is that ROI going to be on those things? Is it going to be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? That's going to be important to know on it. And then after 4 or 5 years, you have to basically replace them with some newer stuff that's NVIDIA coming out here. So you're kind of in the same boat in a way with Bitcoin mining, because you have to change out the equipment every 3 years or so. With HPC-AIs, maybe you can get away with having those things for 4 or 5 years, right? I don't know. Let's see. Why do you think Iren is better than Cypher, apart from the fact that Cypher is still in Australia? Cypher is apart from the Cypher's in Australia. Iren is Australian-based, and they are going to be U.S. domiciled here, beginning with their fiscal year starting at the end of June here. So July 1st going forward, they're going to be reporting based on the United States measures. So that doesn't really change anything there. That's going to be the same stuff both ways. I think Iren has more megawatts, from what I remember, than Cypher does right now. Iren has more hash power right now as it is also. They're generating more money. They've reached scale. They can generate the revenue and be profitable at it as well. So they can fund some of that growth through profitability in the business as well. So they're not having to pull maybe as much on the ATM. So that's kind of why I like Iren a little bit more than Cypher on that. But Cypher's got more growth here, I think, happening still later on this year and into next year, and then we'll see what they get for HPCI. They all have the same ambitions as everybody else here, except for Cleanspark. Cleanspark's the only one that's to be pure play Bitcoin miner. Let's see, B-Side says, question, I've been following you, Seth, for a long time. I know you're OG. Are you disappointed with Bitfarms? Yeah, I'm disappointed. I was going off based on the growth of 21 exahash, and then, maybe they surprised me with the HPCI business. Maybe they do get something for it in the next couple, well, maybe next half year or so. Maybe they get something for it. And they surprise us all, which would be nice. So, but yeah, I saw some potential there. That potential did get close, but it didn't get to where they said they were going to. So I was a little disappointed by that. But that was based on previous management, new management with Ben being at the helm there. They're changing course a little bit, and I'm willing to give Ben a little bit more time, I guess, benefit of the doubt. All right, he's been only in there about a year now. So you don't turn a ship that size in a matter of weeks, months. It takes a little while, so we'll see how he does. All right, Gary's got a question here. Seb, if Bitfarms does a stock split, would you be the first time ever a miner did a stock split during a bull run? I know if you have done it during the bear markets. I think it would be probably the first time that somebody did a reverse stock split during a bull run. I can't recall anybody else doing it. We had Hive did it in a bear market. We had Hut8 do it during the merger with USBTC. Who else has done it there? I'm trying to think. Well, CORZ did it with getting it through bankruptcy. But yeah, that's the only ones I can think of right now. Bisa's got a question. Why do you think Riot sells its Bitfarms every day? It's about 1 million a day, and they have a limit on the maximum they can sell per day. They still have about 75 to sell. Why? I think it's the activist investors that they have there right now that are kind of guiding them in the direction they want to go, right? They're not happy with what's going on with Bitfarms, so they want to basically get rid of it. Get rid of the stuff that they're not happy with and move more towards HBCI. With having Bitfarms on the balance sheet there, that is looked upon possibly negatively, frowned upon by some institutions, whatever might be investors. So they want to get that off the balance sheet there, take a loss for it. It is what it is, and move on. I think that's kind of what's happening there. Let's see, is Bitfarms at bulk accumulation price? Riot is dumping its stocks. Bulk. Is Bitfarms at bulk? That I don't know. If you're saying like the low end price of where it's at, possibly where you can buy it, I think it right now is a pretty good price. I mean, you did have a chance to get it at like, what was it, 64 cents here recently, 83, something more like that. But yeah. Let's see. My guess is Riot is selling as fast as it can without crashing the stock price. It seems like it. Right? They're trying to. I mean, they're keeping it under $1 here for a while now. Why should I be bullish on Griffin or Hut or ABTC? What is their ticker for ABTC? Oh gosh, what is it? I don't even know what's going to be here. I was thinking about CEBT, but that's CEB, but that's somebody else. I don't know what's going to be. Probably maybe ABTC. I have no idea what that's going to come out yet. They're doing a merger with Griffin, so we'll see what that comes out as. And then why should I be bullish on? Okay, so Griffin, we'll have to wait and see what happens with them and USBTC there. How many shares are going to be accumulated for that, or what's going to be the stock price of it? What's going to be valuation? We need to see what the valuation is going to be basically at. Hut8 has Anthony Pompliano in there. They've got obviously the Trump boys in there as well. They are off basically taking the Bitcoin mining side of the business, putting it into another entity where they have 80% stake in it, basically. And it's coming off their books, more or less. Their books will look better, and then if they get a deal for HBCI, they're supposed to be building out a data center in Louisiana. That's supposed to be a couple $1 billion. The rumor is it might be Meta. We don't know on that. If they get a deal there, they report on a deal there, that would be one reason why you'd be hot or bullish on Hut, I guess. And then ABTC, if they are planning to grow like they say they're planning to grow, where they want to be the biggest Bitcoin miner here in the space, well, they got a lot to grow, and they're going to be definitely, we'll have to wait and see how they perform. We don't know a lot. Right now, the only thing we know with USBTC is they are going to be using Hut8's infrastructure, basically. So Hut8 is going to be providing them with megawatts. They're going to be charging for it something. Not a big fan of that kind of deal. I think it benefits Hut8 more so than it does USBTC. USBTC is going to be paying a little bit of a higher price, possibly, right, for electricity and hosting, whatever you want to call it. But there's just a lot of unknowns with it, at least right now. I want to see more details on that one. Par says, rest in peace, Bitfarms. Yeah, it's been a rough ride for them. Yeah, Griffin will become ABTC down the road. Yep, they're getting, I think, 2% of the deal there or something like that. Par says $2 to $3 cycle top for Bitfarms. Still would be actually not too bad. What will happen to the Griffin shares? I think, well, those will get basically swapped for the new shares. So you'll get those. All right, Bar says Iren to BTC chart is the best looking one. That along with Bitdeer, if you look at that one as well. He said Andre went all in on Mara, mad that the stock didn't pump, blaming it on me because I am super bearish on Mara. Oh, you guys are having a little spat there, I guess. All right, let's see. Kramer said tonight that the deal with China wasn't any good. That was today the beginning of the correction starting. Depending on who you listen to, I guess. Guess Kramer doesn't think it was a good deal. I don't know the details on it. I heard some things about it, but I don't have enough details to weigh in on it one way or another right now as it is. Okay, Omar asks, did Riot sell all of the Bitfarms or only some? Are they easing out of it? Reverse split will be bloodbath for investors. Riot is slowly selling out. Right, they're at 14% now. They were a little higher than that. They were at what, 15 something percent, something like that, a couple of weeks ago. So they are slowly selling out of it as time goes on here. We're just keeping the price down on Bitfarms, unfortunately. Let's see, SH says Amazon doubles down on AI infrastructure with $30 billion in new U.S. data center investments. I saw that article as well. Dual expansion, Pennsylvania. Yep, one of the sites there was where one of the sites where, oh gosh, TeraWolf, where TeraWolf is located as well nearby. Data center investments, dual expansion in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, highlighting the ongoing surge in U.S. hyperscaler growth. Yeah, yep. GD says Bitfarms is radioactive. Stay away from it. It has not done great. Yes. Let's see. Andrew says anything about. Okay. So stop asking so many questions. Seb, you had enough. Ask all the questions you guys want, but yeah, keep it cordial, guys. Beside, Sebastian, do you believe Bitcoin is over 100,000 for a whole month, 31 days, or 30? Not sure. Bitcoin, let me see here. It's been where's the 100,000 line here? It's been a while. Let's take a look at it here. We crossed it basically back on May 8th, so we have been over 100,000 here. This is the green line here. We've been above it for over a month, so I think we bounce off of that here and continue going forward here. We'll see on it. Oh, let's see, where do I want to go? Q&A. That's where I want to go. Okay. S. Romney has a question. Will Bitfarms rocket after Riot completes sell-off? I think it has a better chance, obviously, without the sell pressure of it. Every day it has a better chance of going back up. Let's see. It still has greater than 50% electricity cost compared to Cypher, Cleanspark, and Iren. I still have 5,500 shares at $2 cost basis. Okay. Now I have about 8,000 shares, something like that, I think, in them right now as it is, at a cost basis of $1.45. Yes, their pricing are higher. We also don't know what's going on with Argentina. Have they resolved that issue on the electricity side of their provider there, possibly having some financial issues, and they've cut off power to Bitfarms because of that. So I'd like to know more about that. But yeah, it would be nice if it actually goes up to at least like $2 or something like that and higher. And then if they do the reverse split, well, yeah, nobody really likes that, do they? All right. S8 says, I received a Bitfarms proxy and there's nothing about reverse split. People are making rumors about, okay, yeah. So if you got it and you're not seeing anything on it, I'll wait to see if I get anything on it as well. Okay. Gary's got a question here. Pretty bullish day for Iren announced 50 million convertible notes, opened down 7%, finished up 1.7%. Yep. On a red day for miners, Wall Street, noticing them. They have doubled stock price in 2 months. Yeah, they've also done a pretty good job here from the bottom of the market to where they are right now. Heinze, I've got a question here. These miners barely moved on the way up. How do we keep faith? We still have a couple more months to go, Heinze. I still have the faith that as Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, maybe a little bit beyond that as well, this year, that the miners will do much better here unless we have another, if we go, the only way I could see them not doing well is if Bitcoin goes to, let's just say 150,000, right? It goes to 150,000 by middle or end of the summer. And then we go into another 3, 4, 5 months correction in Bitcoin where it goes down 30% before it goes up higher. And the miners go down 60%, 70% again, right? That's the only way I could see them not doing as great. And if that happens, well, it's definitely a completely different cycle than what we've had in the past. Terry says, Bitfarms Ltd. Annual special meeting to be held Monday, June 30th. Okay. Was there anything in there for the reverse split? All right. Let's see. Sean's got a question here. Any reason why Riot is in the green and looks like it is going to run up compared to other miners? A few people I know on X said it can be another GameStop. Thoughts? GameStop, as far as short squeeze, you're talking about that? I don't think so. I know that the shortage was as high on them, but not as high as it was on like Mara and Cleanspark even. The reason it's running up here, I think, is they basically, what's the word I'm looking for? The market noticed that they're selling their Bitfarms stake, more or less. They're not going after that. They do have the activist investors in them, which might also have some context there where maybe they have some knowledge of what's going on, and they're pushing people into it as well to buy up the shares of Riot. So that could be also possibly there. We saw that happen with Stanley Druckenmiller getting into TeraWulf. After he got into it, stock went up. So sometimes people that that are getting into the stock that also help pump the stock up at that point. All right. Let's see. The profits from HPCI is really, really high, almost ridiculous. Right now, it's Iren's getting like 98% or whatever it is. Okay. B says got a question here. Let's just pretend you were lucky enough to be born into the future. Would you choose AI or Bitcoin mining? Depending how far into the future, right? And then also how democratized is AI right at that point? Is it that every single computer can now perform? I mean, my laptop that I have, my Mac Studio Mini, has possibilities to do HPCI on it already, right? It's kind of slow, but it can do it based on some of the models there. So it just depends on where we are. How democratized is it? How much of the adoption has already happened at that point, because that will determine the pricing that you're paying for that stuff. So if prices come down and it takes you, I don't know, 4 or 5 years to break even on something like that, then maybe it's not that great of a business. Similar example to this was obviously the web, right? When the web first came out, if you wanted to host a website or get a website hosted for yourself or a company or whatever, you were paying, what, $30, $50, $40, $50 a month to host a website. And you got 10 megabytes to 100 megabytes, whatever it was, of space. Forget about having a database attached to it or anything extensive. But as time went on, you got lower prices and more services for it, right? Right now you can host a website for basically like $4 a month if you wanted to, and have like a 1 gigabyte site space and data. So prices are going to come down in time. Right now we are in this kind of boom, I guess you'd say, in HPCI. I don't know how long it's going to last, but we're already seeing prices come down. Amazon came out. I saw an article I think it was this week. They are lowering their pricing on H100s, V100s, H200s, I think as well. That they're offering, and they're lowering those prices on those things already. So you're seeing that the price compression happen already. Sorry, guys, I'm looking for another question here. Beside and Andre are having quite the conversation there. All right, here we go. Karan's got a question here. Seba, what do you think at one market cap cap Hut 8 can do 72? Wow, and one market cap Griffin can do 15. Well, Griffin's going to be a tough one because we don't know how many shares are going to be out there. And we don't know how well they're going to grow as far as the new company, USBTC or American Bitcoin. All right. Hut 8 will also determine whether or not they have a good deal for HPCI business in Louisiana or anywhere else. If they can attract somebody there, that will determine greatly as far as can the stock get to $72. The $72 for them would be, I mean, if the shares stay the same as they are right now, that would be, what are they at? They're at $2 billion right now as it is. That's 72, so that would be what, $8 billion in market cap more or less? Somewhere around there. I mean, it's possible, but they need a good deal for HPCI. And yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. There's too many unknowns with HUD 8 right now. We don't know what American BTC is going to be charged for it. We don't know how well they're going to grow. Yeah, it's tough on that one. CLB's got a question here. Hi, Sebastian. Question your thoughts on Galaxy. Galaxy has got their hands in pretty much a lot of services, and in the past they did have also, I think they still have some Bitcoin mining, but they were hosting the miners for, oh gosh, what's it called? Drawing a blank now. Argo, for Argo. They were hosting the machines for Argo. They kicked Argo out basically, and they positioned that Helios site into HPCI, provided their data center basically. I love what I'm seeing from them. I wish they would still be more into Bitcoin mining as well, but I think they still have a little bit there, not much. But they provide loans for Bitcoin, things like that, all those kind of services as well. And I mean, they were able to get a deal with CoreWeave, so that's got to mean something, right? They're doing something right. B-Side's got a question here. Are you still bullish on Bitfarms when the whole crew is against it? I'm not bullish on it. I'm willing to see where it goes. As you guys know, I've sold out 2/3 of my position there in like November, December timeframe when we were getting the stories or the news releases from them saying that they're going to be lowering their guidance, pushing the guidance out as well. At that point, I sold out 2/3. I was at a profit on at that point. So I still have some shares, not a lot. It's nowhere near the amounts that I have in Cleanspark or Iren as well. But I'll just probably wait to see where it goes. If they come out and they're going to do a reverse split or something like that, I may just take a loss on what I have right now, which isn't much. I'm down, I think, right now like $1,500 on it. So I'll take a loss on it and call it a day. Okay. Let's see. Roger's got a question. How are you so confident that miners will move if BTC goes to 150,000? Miners didn't do anything for almost a year and a half, but BTC has recovered. Again, having events have a huge impact on the miners. Their revenues was cut in half overnight. It's going to take a while for them to come back up, and Bitcoin has to basically double from where it was at that point as well. So that's kind of why I'm confident that if we get higher and higher in Bitcoin price, things will rebound for the miners. Real Rock says, hi, yes, I used to resell web space in high school. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I remember doing a website for my company that I worked for, still work for. I've been with the same company now 28, 29 years. I remember doing that as well back in the day, back when I was much younger. And it was, you weren't getting much for your money back then. See, Real says, I'm still holding my Argo blockchain. Wow, okay, you're still holding on to that one. I mean, they had so much promise as well, but man, did they not execute well last cycle, and then the bear market basically killed them, more or less. Angie, hi Angie, hi Seb. Simply Wall Street website shows Cleanspark as overvalued and suggested should be closer to $4, while Iren is seen as undervalued with a fair value around $18. Why do you think that is? All right, Cleanspark is not going into Bitcoin mining, but that doesn't really make any sense. At $4, they would be probably just fairly valued on their Bitcoin hodl that they have right now, which is valued at, let's take a look at it here. Let's go to Cleanspark really quick. If they're saying $4 for Cleanspark, they are definitely sniffing something they probably shouldn't be sniffing. Let's see here. Here's Cleanspark. So Cleanspark has right now 280 million shares outstanding, market cap 2.8 billion. Their market, let's see, the BTC value is 1.3, so that's basically half of that. So then, yeah, we would say basically that would be only valued around $5, $4, somewhere around there. That wouldn't make any sense to me. Plus, they own a bunch of infrastructure, a lot of sites, a lot of megawatts, all that stuff. It's like you're not valuing that or them actually generating 71 million right now, almost 72 million, which is probably going to go up here next month as well. But 72 million a month in revenue, with pretty good margins on it as well. So I disagree with them, I guess you could say. All right, let's go back here. What else we got here? All right, talked about that one. He has a question here. What about price action on Mara until the end of this year? BTC is 200,000. Well, at that point, I think they should at least double from where they are right now. At the very minimum, that's what I would think they would do. But they could also do much better, right? They have a huge hold position, almost 50,000 Bitcoin there. Operations were really, really good in May. They got a lot of Bitcoin. Some of it was from luck, right? But a lot of it was also from probably having better operational uptime. So they just got to get their costs down, and I think they will with some of the things that they're doing there, initiatives as far as getting the windmill farms, the wind farms. They're also doing the natural gas from the flares, right? They're doing that project, so they're doing a lot of good things here. We'll see if they get valued on it. DeFi is asking, are you buying any miners? Possibly next. I'm hoping next week. I got my roof being changed out next week. That'll be the last big expenditure I have here, I think. Coming up for a while at least. So I'm hoping I can start buying next week potentially. All right. Barra says Bitfarms will 100% reverse split. Okay. All right. DeFi's got a question. Which miners do you think has the most potential for growth? Iren. Depending on what kind of growth we're looking at Bitcoin mining growth or HPCI growth. Iren has, so let's just go this route. So let's say Iren does not get anything for their sites of Clearwater for HPCI customers, right? Let's say that is just the case. That doesn't happen. Well, then at that point, they do have basically 2 gigawatts of power that they can put into Bitcoin mining potentially. So based on that, at least what's locked in right now, what they have available, I would say Iren probably has the most growth here. Based on that. Gary says, Iren is back to being a 10x stock up to 1030 from 102 2.5 years ago. Buy the right miner at the correct time and profits are there. That's with anything, right? If you can buy anything at the right time, profits are definitely there. Okay. Will Mara ever trade like MicroStrategy for their BTC holdings? Good question there. I don't know. They haven't been really priced based on it, right? So they've been, their pricing, their MNAV has been like 1 or actually less than 1 at times. So it's just crazy to see that actually for them. They're not being really valued either on their operations or on their HODL. I mean, they should be valued double from where they are probably right now to be fairly valued, I think. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's the convertible notes that they got. They bought Bitcoin because of that. Is that also having a hedge on them, right, to the short side? I don't know. I just don't know if they can be valued. Maybe in time, if Bitcoin goes up in value, they will be valued up higher at that point as well. Carl says, I think next up is around 120,000. Timing has been wonderful for me. Sold my rent house 2 months ago and bought the dip. Awesome. I also retired last Friday at 58 years old. Well, congratulations on that. I hope you have a wonderful retirement. I hope you stay busy in your retirement. One of the things that I've learned in my, I guess you could say, 40 some odd years on this planet is people that I've seen retire and not do anything in their retirement tend to go downhill pretty quickly. So if you can stay active in your retirement, regardless whatever whatever it is that you're doing, you just need, I think, to have a purpose in life in general. If you can do that, I think you're going to live a much happier and healthier retirement at that point. Let's see. What else we got here? Bob C says, the thing about Bitfarms is they just never seem to do anything for shareholders. It's been a constant poop show. We try to average down and it drops even more. There are no retail buyers left. Yeah, it's been, I mean, they've been shooting themselves in the foot here for probably the past 2 years, right? If it isn't one thing, it's another thing. And they've been kind of, unfortunately, walking uphill both sides. B-side says, Hut will probably sign a deal with HPCAI. I mean, there's always a possibility of that. I'm not saying it's not out of the question. Is Bitfarms in bulk price? Price could probably go down a little bit more, so I would just be patient there. We'll work on finding purpose. Yeah, you always want to have something going on. It gives you something to do, right? It keeps you active on that side of thing. My dad is 73 years old and he's still working 5 days a week. That gives him purpose, and he's honestly, he's probably healthier than I am. I have some health issues that are not of my choosing. That I had gotten some bad genes, I guess you could say. But he's been a workhorse all his life, and that keeps him going. But I wish him, another 20 years of good health and everything else. See, Carol says, I'm of great health and shape, so is my wife, and we are already have a thriving small business. I will throw my mind into that. I will never be a couch potato. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I'm with you there. I couldn't be a couch potato either. So that's awesome to hear, and like I said, I wish you guys all the best there. Stay busy as much as you can. Riel says, I am so tired of the dilutions and reverse stock splits. There haven't been that many. I mean, we've had Hive do it. We've had Hut 8 do it. CORZ did it. And we might have now Bitfarms. So it's still a smaller percentage of that. Zach says Bitfarms is a scam company. I don't think it's a scam company. It's just, some things go against you. You can't, how do I put this? In business, you try things out, and sometimes the things don't work. Or, the plan that you have runs into roadblocks or potholes, whatever you want to call it, and you have to change direction. You have to do things that you might not have done otherwise. But also the management there, right, having changed that one direction, one management was going one direction, the other management is changing in another direction, that also puts a strain on the stock price there, and not being able to reach things, reach timelines and deadlines and things like that doesn't help. CBC says, I am a gentleman. I want to say to Andre that BTC will go bust the power law to the upside around 1 million for one BTC. Well, I think we're going to 1 million plus on Bitcoin eventually. Whether it's going to be 5-10 years, I don't really care, but I believe it's going to be going up there as well. And then let's see what else we got here. We got Freddie. He's got a question popping up here. Which miner, Karan, sorry. Which miner do you think can do a minimum 6x, max 10x? To be honest, I think a lot of these guys have the potential. I don't know if 100% one of these guys is going to do it. I would say, man, Bitcoin going to 200,000 would help. Any of these guys getting an HPCI deal would also help improve those chances, right? But I don't know if anybody's going to do that without those two things happening. Freddie's got a question here as well. What are the chances that both Iren and Cleanspark go above 30 at some point this year? I remember your targets for both of them used to be about double that, so I'm hoping you can see 30 as realistic. Yeah, I think 30 is doable, right? Bitcoin getting to 200,000, I think that's pretty doable for both of those guys. We could go up higher, but we'll see. Let's see. Real says, I don't trust regulators to effectively manage our stock market ethically. The lack of transparent reporting has eroded my confidence. Yeah, I would agree with you to a certain extent on that as well. We are in a different age right now. We have the age of digital abundance, I guess you could say. I would love to see, monthly updates instead of quarterly updates from these companies. Not just the Bitcoin miners, but in general. There's no reason why that information cannot be provided to us without much, stress on the companies themselves. If you're a publicly traded company, you got the systems in place anyways. You could run a report once a month, put it out there by the 5th day of the month or something like that, and have it out there for investors to see. That's just the way I think about it. It's not the back old days where you had to put everything on paper and print it out and send it out to your investors, whatever it was, or you had to read through the New York Journal or New York Times, whatever it was, Bloomberg. Back then to see what the companies are doing. You have access to all the information. Everything's online anyways right now. You could do a report, hit an enter button, and it gets uploaded to the website without an issue, right? That's the speed of information that we are living in right now. And it's the SEC has to, I wouldn't say grow up, but it has to obviously grow with the times. And make changes based on that. That's kind of my thoughts on it, at least right now. Let's see what else we got here. Carl says, statement, ETFs got everyone excited. However, that is where a lot of retail money went from retail miners to ETFs. I myself put half of my money into ETFs. It's just is what it is. Diversified. Yep, I would agree with you there. A lot more spaces or a lot more places where you can put your money into that have Bitcoin exposure, right? ETFs, miner ETFs, you have the miners themselves, you got MSTR, others as well on top of it. So there's a lot more places you can put your money into Bitcoin exposure for it that way. All right, but that's it. We're going on an hour and 15 minutes here already as it is. We're going to call it a day. We're at 11 o'clock my time, at least it is right now. We'll see what happens later on this week. We will start running some data on some of the miners as far as metrics and things like that. I think everybody has reported here except we know that Bitfarms isn't going to be reporting anymore. Hut 8 doesn't seem to be reporting anymore as well. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. CORZ doesn't report, but we can find that information from their tweets or X post. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But yeah, we'll see where everything else lands up later on this week. Where does Bitcoin go? Whatever else happens, any positive news on that, we'll also talk about it as well. Let's see, Sarah's got a quick question here. So can you explain this $20 cap on Iren, please? It's not really a cap, but it does. You're going to have, obviously, I'll do something about it tomorrow. I'm not going to get into it right now, but I'll figure something out to do on it tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll leave it at that. Okay. Other than that, it's good to be back. Thank you, everyone, for coming in, chatting as well. Spreadsheets are going to be available to my Patreon members. I'll get this updated for you guys later on, probably not tonight. I'll get this out to you guys tomorrow. So you guys will get that link for description, or link for the membership is down in the description if you want to join there and help support what I do. A couple bucks a month is all it takes, and you get all the access to all the data that I have on the miners as well. Then you help support me. So that's it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you all. Have a great night. Until then,